I mean, to summarize the blog post, crypto's gone up like 10x in value in a year, like the market cap of all cryptos. A lot of top 10 cryptos, two or three, have a system called proof of work, which basically means like you can burn CPU time to make money. It's not very much money. Like you can spend, $100 of AWS credits to get $10 of money. But if you can somehow find free tiers available in the wild, and you have nothing better to do, then you can just make a full-time job of attacking these things. So like AWS has like the free tier, but they are like really restricting. Like I don't know if you've tried to set up a free tier AWS account anytime recently, but it's really difficult now. You need a phone number, you need a credit card, you need a two-factor authentication. To get any free credits, you need to have like an incubator partner. And the same thing's happening in CI. So like Circle CI is being attacked. We were being attacked. Shippable was being attacked. And like GitLab and Shippable have both worsened their free tiers in the past year because of the just like nonstop attacking. And like because it's profitable for people to just make a full-time job of attacking, and attackers have an advantage in this sort of thing. It's really difficult to defend because even if you have a full-time team of defenders, the attackers will just keep making new accounts. Like when we were being attacked, it was really bad for a couple of weeks, and we banned like the entire country of Indonesia because that's where a lot of the attacks are coming from for some reason. And then like the second we banned the country, there was like 50 new IPs on corporate networks in the US. So like they had the resources to pay like $1 a month for the IPs, and like they're probably paying crypto for these IPs, so it's not traceable regardless. And it's like there's not really much you can do defense wise except for just huge broad strokes like banning countries and banning or we use Cloudflare, so we use Cloudflare's like VPN detection, and we just made Cloudflare ban all VPNs. So some developers might not be able to access us with a VPN, but it's like there's not really much we can do about that.
But these people will be attacking mostly through the free tier, right? They'll be like automating creation of accounts and then just running stuff. Is that how it works?
Yeah. So I mean, they basically use the free tier as like a command and control script. So they'll they'll set up a fake desktop. They'll set up something that connects back to their connection. They can like bounce it through any IP they want. Like they can do the same thing in GitHub's IP range so that you can't blacklist their IPs because there's lots of you can't blacklist any AWS IPs or your customers won't be able to connect to AWS. And so they can just rent a free VPS in AWS and they'll command and control out of that. And then they can run a browser in there and sign up for other CI services with your CI services IP. Like they can use it as a proxy. They can mine crypto. It's you get arbitrary code execution by nature of being able to run things. So
yeah, when we were running CI, it was just one of the biggest fears that's how people can use like we were worried of like a supply chain attack, just like SolarWinds, because it's literally like remote code execution as a service. And we worried a lot about all of that, but ultimately like there's only so much you could do. We tried to like just have like audit trails and like just prevent people from ever like deleting branches and stuff, just so that you can at least see if there's somebody attacked you, they can't just hide everything. But like blocking everybody completely was considered like really hard. So at least let's just have like audit trails and stuff. What is the legality of all of this? Like, are there like vectors of where like you can say that this is illegal, or that doesn't matter, like regulation hasn't caught up, or regulation has caught up, just enforcement is really hard?
yeah, I mean, it's certainly illegal in the States. There's unauthorized use of a computer system, obviously. It's like against our terms of service. It's against GitLab's terms of service. But like are they going to send like FBI agents to like Vietnam or whatever to catch these people in internet cafes paying with Bitcoin? Like it took 5 years to bring down Silk Road, and that was in the US. So if people are using Tor and are using like crypto to pay for things, like it's both difficult to find them and it's difficult to like even persecute.
That makes sense to me. And it's also like, unless a bunch of companies come together to try to drive enforcement or something, I can just think of like Epic itself can't sue Apple for a monopoly, but like 5 companies like Epic, Shaw, like Spotify, all of these different companies together, that might stand a chance. But it might be maybe something similar where one company alone probably can't do much. um, what do you think the future of this is? These attacks keep happening, value of crypto just goes down, maybe? That doesn't seem like that's happening anytime soon.
I mean, I think the only long term solution is to like restrict proof of work. So like
Mm-hmm.
if the people making the cryptos choose different sorts of difficulty metrics, like I mentioned in the blog post, but Ethereum is moving to something called proof of stake,
Mm-hmm.
which you don't get more Ethereum for hacking computers at that point, or like unauthorized, like you're just burning CPU cycles. Doesn't give you more Ethereum once they switch to proof of stake. So if the popular cryptos uh, make it not profitable to just like burn CPU time, then it'll become unprofitable to just make a full-time job of attacking free tiers.
Mm-hmm.
And if that doesn't happen, then like basically free tiers will just go away because like there are like forums like on the other side where they're trading information about like how to like circumvent security measures, like IPs you can use. Like I read some of the comments to my article, and people were saying like, oh, why don't you just block the IPs? Why don't you just like block the connection to the pools? And it's like, you know, like people are essentially using corporate networks like as IPs to connect to layer CI already. So if they're using random IPs from like AWS to connect to us, they can just make a
Mm-hmm.
tunnel from there. Um, and you know, like there's just so little you can do. And they're using like Selenium to run crypto miners, so you can't even do like executable analysis. It's like it's just very very difficult as a blue hat to deal with this.
Mm-hmm. Um, yeah, the Ethereum migration to proof of stake, it's gonna probably take like a year plus, and I don't even know if the others like Dogecoin, which is just so popular suddenly, maybe because of like Elon Musk like tweeting about it all the time. I don't even know if they have a plan to move to like proof of stake. So, but yeah, I think that would also be better for the environment if we finally moved away from like proof of work.
But even Bitcoin, like a lot of the people that were attacking us were mining these like random little small caps. Like they
Mm-hmm.
were mining like Sugar Chain, and they're mining like Monero.
Sugar chain, yeah.
I
Okay.
think Monero is like really the only one that's in the top 10 that is ever really used for this. And that's because
Mm-hmm.
it's specifically
A privacy
designed.
coin. Mm-hmm.
Well, it's specifically designed to be profitable to mine with CPUs. Like there's like big memory
Oh,
requirements so that you can't use graphics cards or integrated
interesting.
circuits for it. So
Mm-hmm.
I think Monero has a big ethical problem with their design.
um, and it's also hard to track down like Monero users versus Bitcoin, even though like Bitcoin is like pseudo anonymous. Yeah.
I mean, I don't think tracking down is the problem, as I mentioned. Like, if you track
Mhm.
down one of these people, there's like thousands of people that have the same capabilities, that have,
Yeah.
you know, the same lack of scruples. Like, if you, if $200 a month is enough money for you to make a full time job of it, it's like there's a lot of people in the world that $200 a month is worth doing
Yeah.
something full time for. So
Do you think it's individuals that are attacking, or is it like consortiums? Like, what do you know, or do you have like a gut feeling about that?
so when we got attacked, it was all at once. Like you know, we were only founded a couple years ago, so like as we were growing, we didn't have to have all these like security protections in place. We didn't have to have like the heuristics for whether a job was good or not. Like we were happy if people were coming in and trying our product. And then basically all at once, like 10 different individuals were trying to mine Bitcoin on our service. So I'm pretty sure what happened is we got added on a list in like some onion forum somewhere about like past companies that you can, like platform as a service companies that
Mm-hmm.
offer a free tier that you can attack to make money on.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure they're like individuals, but acting sort of as teams where they share resources and have their own like, you know, like the GitHub list for developers that are like
Mm-hmm.
free things that are great for developers. Like there's a list somewhere that's like free things that are great for crypto mining.
Right. Yeah. With like an easy list for like ad blockers, but just the opposite. Philosophically, you don't have to answer this or go too much into detail, but like, what's the impact of like having a free tier? How often do you see customers? I'm sure now you do. Like, but what do you think the impact would be to your company if like you remove the free tier, and if not your company, even like to Circle CI? Like, what's your intuition on that?
I mean, in 2021, you essentially can't have a SaaS company without a free tier. Like,
Okay.
there's very, very few companies that someone will try if it requires a credit card. AWS can get away with it because, like,
They're so
they're
big
big and
now.
they're like ubiquitous, and it's like, well, I understand why I need to put in a credit card to use AWS's free tier, but like, just the identity problem is essentially unsolvable for most companies. Like, would you try Calendly if you had to pay for it? I mean, like, I probably wouldn't pay $1 a month for
Mhm.
Calendly in the early days. And so you always choose, like, early on in your usage of a tool, like when it's just starting to be important to you, you'll always choose the free one because you're not getting enough value from it yet to pay for it. And
Mhm.
then as you get enough value for it, then you upgrade to a paying customer. So, like, basically all SaaS companies need a free tier or something that people can evaluate. And if you don't have that, then you just lose to the people that do have a free tier.
Mhm. That makes sense. It's just a competitive thing because there will always be someone who will be willing to burn like VC money to give people free tiers and get customers.
Or someone that's as big as AWS that can have a full-time team of, like, AWS has teams of like 10 or 20 engineers working on crypto detection and crypto prevention. It's
Mhm.
like 20 engineers cost like millions of dollars a year. So, like, small companies can't afford that sort of resource. So
Mhm.
in the end, the only people with free tiers would be the Herokus and the AWSs, because they're the only ones that can afford, the huge public company spending $1 million a year is a blip to them.
Mhm. What about like no charge credit cards? Like you have to put your credit card in, but you don't get charged. Is that like still a super high blocker to people?
I mean, when was the last time you did that? Like, I probably wouldn't give my
Yeah.
credit card to some random company just to do their trial, because I mean,
Okay.
gym memberships have kind of burned people from this, where you sign up for your 30-day gym membership and you need to mail them something for them not to charge you. It's like, a lot of companies will do that, so
Mhm.
it's difficult
That's
to
fair. Yeah. I've seen companies trying to roll out no charge credit cards, but that's only companies that previously had credit card trials. So clearly, like the metrics would help there, but I've never seen a company just start off with like a credit card $0 trial. I think it would be an interesting experiment. That maybe somebody has an idea of.
I mean, another funny thing is that, like, there's all of these companies that let you make virtual credit cards now, right? Like,
Yeah,
Visa and MasterCard have these APIs that you can
privacy.
use to make virtual credit cards. And you'd say, like, oh, well, why don't I just use one of those to make a virtual credit card to sign up for Layer CI, and then they can't, um, like, I'll use that for the free tier. But it's like, you
Hmm.
can detect those. Like, Visa tells you whether something's a prepaid credit card or an actual credit card. And obviously, we'd have to block them, because if someone stole someone's credit card, they could make 100 virtual credit cards on top of it, and
Hmm.
then make 100 accounts, and then, same problem. So, like, there's basically no world in which uh, anything but like a credit card or a phone number can be used for authentication. And
Yeah.
even then, like, it has to be a +1 phone number, because there's VoIP providers that give you like these random international, like, phone numbers, and you can get thousands of them for $1. And if you can
Yeah.
get thousands of phone numbers, then it's not a good rate limiting resource anymore.
Mhm.